School board meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge to the flag in your heart.
All right. I pledge the flag of the United States of America, Republic, and nation, God, liberty, justice. All right. Public comment will occur during the meeting's public comment portion. I have to apologize for my voice, everyone. I have bronchitis, I think. You can raise your hand remotely or in person. Once acknowledged, please state your name and ward to include in the minutes. Please limit your time to 3 minutes. Public comment is governed by policy BEDH. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
There's not.
Okay. We will be changing the order of the minutes. We're going to move, where is it? We're going to have the presentation by the I always get her name wrong, by discussion and action on the teacher evaluation tool by Karen Dubois just after the consent agenda, and then we'll have the presentation by the Take Flight program directly after that. So we can get everyone out of here on time. All right, let's see. Is there any public comment in the room? There's none. Is there any public comment online?
There's no public comment online.
Okay, great. Is there any correspondence? I believe there's none. None, thank you. Student report, I just skipped right over you. Nora.
Hello, is it on? I don't know.
If not, that mic is on.
Why don't you use this one for a second?
Sit
Hello. So spring grants are up and running. Student council got them out this past week, and it looks like it's going to be another successful round with clubs and ELOs. The Positive Tracks nonprofit organization met with student council today to discuss awareness events we could run in the future for LHS. It's combining sports and awareness that we can use for different events around the school, such as like a lacrosse game. We could have an awareness for an environmental cause. Unified season came to an end before break. We unfortunately only had one home game, but we're looking into doing more games during academic block for next year. We had an amazing outcome for our one academic block game, and we had so many students, student and staff support, and it was amazing. So we hope to do that next year. The Student Council PR team is creating fun engagement content for LHS currently. We have been publicizing the spring grant opportunity for clubs and ELOs. We're making fun reels to show an inside look of what it's like to be an LHS student, such as going around and asking seniors what advice they'd give to the underclassmen. And we also started a new media section called Opportunities Around the School, which enables students to see the different opportunities that teachers have for them that they might not see normally if they skip over emails or don't look closely in the weekly, things like that. So it's going to be posted on social media or on our Instagram account, so it's more engaging for the students.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Nora?
No, but I've been following some of the athletic teams. So girls basketball team is doing amazing this year. Our girls hockey team, which only has like 9 players, is doing exceptionally well. And Annie Hanna just represented the U.S. and a U.S. national event. So cool things happening in girls sports.
Yeah, we are doing amazing this year. I'm so proud of everyone. We're working so hard. So.
Great, and I want to thank you all for the Instagram posts, because often if I can't find any information anywhere, I can find it on the Instagram post, so that is really helpful to me. So I'm happy about that. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, so we will do the consent agenda. Any motion to approve the minutes from the public hearing?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the public hearing on February 12th, 2025.
Okay, motion from MJ. Can I get a second from Mary? Are there any corrections or additions or anything? Okay. All those in favor of accepting those minutes? Great, thank you. And
I'll make a motion to approve the Lebanon School Board minutes from February 12th, 2025.
okay, a motion from MJ, a second from Mary. Are there any corrections? John?
11B. I'm honored, but I believe that's Richard instead of John under the policy.
You have something?
And then I had, under 9B, at the bottom of page 4, the last paragraph says, MJ referenced the handbook and stated on page 8, it states it will be in the newspaper. Instead of it should say the board agenda is in the newspaper.
Any other corrections? All right, all those in favor of accepting them as amended? Thank you. And last but not least,
Make a motion to approve the non-public meeting minutes from February 12th, 2025.
a motion by MJ. Can I get a second? Second by Mary. Any corrections to these? No? All right. All those in favor? Great, thank you. All right, so that brings us to discussion and action on the teacher evaluation tool with Karen Dubois.
Hi, everyone.
I don't know if it's working. Might want to go to the table instead. You can sit down instead.
And I've never used one of these. Do I have to push the thing? Oh, the red light means.
But you do pull it down. You can move it towards you. Look at
Because I'm
that.
short. Let's try this again. Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Dubois, District Director of all sorts of things, including educator effectiveness. So we are here to just briefly look for approval for a shift in our educator effectiveness system. You have materials in your packet here, and I'm not going to read through these. I'll just quickly note the highlights of what we are proposing, because this has already been approved by the Education Committee back in the fall, the SAU leadership team, and the LEA leadership. In summary, an educator effectiveness system has three main components: practice standards, which outline the characteristics of effective teaching, processes and procedures that allow our administrators and educators to implement those practices and evaluate them, and a digital management tool that we use to sort of hold all of that information. We are proposing to shift our practice standards from the Marzano framework to the Danielson framework for teaching, and to make a parallel shift in our digital management tool. Currently, we're using Marzano, which we've been happy with for many years. It is a framework that is tethered to a very dated digital management tool. That digital management tool is problematic for all sorts of reasons. In addition, Marzano has produced an updated version of its criteria, which would cost us quite a lot of money to purchase at this point. That prompted us to look for a similar product. Danielson is the most widely used educator effectiveness framework in the country, very well researched, and many of our educators are already familiar with it. And indeed, it did enjoy some use in the district a number of years ago, as I understand it. As you can see from the colorful 4-box graphic, the two frameworks have a lot of similarities. They group the characteristics of effective educators into 4 domains. Those domains share similarities. So in all, we don't think this will be a heavy lift for our educators to shift. It's a coaching model and growth-focused mindset approach, which we already have in place in the district. Additional benefits include the Danielson framework. We've worked to customize it so that it's a framework that can be used effectively by a variety of different roles within the district, including, we hope, paraeducators, so that both of our teachers and our paraeducators, school nurses, school counselors, will all have a framework that's tailored to their specific role within the district. And we hope the digital management tool vector, which is already in use for some of our trainings in the district, will be just a better tool for us to use. Results in about a $2,900 cost savings overall annually.
Great. Do we have any questions for Karen?
Can you speak briefly on sort of how a system like this sort of ties directly to student success, student achievement?
Absolutely. So part of our cycle of professional growth will involve, and does currently involve, an annual process in which educators engage in self-assessment, and then on the basis of that self-assessment, set both a 3-year goal and an annual goal. And the administrators then can use that goal as a starting point for conversations with educators around efficacy. The framework and its many criteria sort of is positioned as a neutral third party, if you will, in a coaching conversation between an administrator and a teacher, in which the teacher can say, I think I need to improve in this area. And the administrator can say, yes, and I think you can absolutely try to grow in that area, but I also would like you to work on this other area. And another asset of the Danielson framework and this tech tool is that there's an easier way to attach evidence, both for the teacher and for the administrator. So for example, a teacher might say, here's evidence of really meaningful project-based learning with a picture of some projects or a video of students presenting their learning. The administrator might come to a teacher and say, here's some evidence that you don't seem to have planned effectively for some of your lessons. And you can actually attach that evidence within the system and have a meaningful conversation on the basis of that evidence. So there's opportunities to tie evidence directly to student outcomes as the evidence of teacher efficacy.
Are there any other questions? So we, board, as per policy, does need to approve this as a whole board. So you have to.
I move that per policy GCO, the board approve new teacher evaluation toolkit.
Teacher effectiveness framework, is that what we want to call it?
Oh, sorry, effectiveness framework.
Okay, great. Can I get a second? Thank you. Mary. Okay, any additional information? No? Okay, all those in favor? Great, thank you. All right, that brings us to, thank you, Karen. That brings us to Take Flight. You're on. So, so if you, the projection is not really for us, it's for the people at home. So if you just want to talk into the mic, if you are.
Should we look back there?
No, the cameras are right there. These-
Oh, there it is. Okay,
There.
good. Hi, everybody. I'm Bonnie Robinson. I'm the Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment at Lebanon High School. And thank you for having us. We're excited to talk to you about our new course this year, which is called Take Flight. This is an example of project-based learning. I was fortunate to be part of the team that went out to Napa last June, and we studied what project-based learning really is, and all of these elements are just integrated completely into the Take Flight process. When we gave this presentation to the school district staff back in maybe November, we talked a great deal about project-based learning. We're cutting back on it tonight, so you can just see our progress between the beginning of the year and now, which is substantial, and hear from the kids about the experience. But if there are any further questions about project-based learning, it's a highly motivational strategy, really just the best instruction that there you can find. So we're excited about project-based learning.
Hi, everybody. I'm Thomas Moore. I'm one of the teachers for Take Flight.
I'm Bill Howard. I'm the other teacher for Take Flight.
When we first started the program, we had an application process, and we had 24 applicants apply. And we sent them through an application process. They had to write a letter, and we sat them down and interviewed them as well. And up above here are the students that we decided to have work on our airplane.
There are, I believe, 6 seniors, 4 juniors, and 4 sophomores. Yes, that math checks out. And so the 6 seniors will obviously not be able to continue next year, but I believe 7 of the 8 non-seniors will be able to continue next year.
All right, I'm Kyle Hines. I chose this this class because I want to be a pilot when I grow up, and obviously there's nothing better to do than work on a plane if you want to be a pilot. So really a crazy experience that I got here, and obviously this is a life-changing experience to experience as a student, to experience it with your friends, and experience it with great teachers, great support.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Ball. I'm a senior at the high school. I chose to take Flight because I intend to study either aerospace or aeronautical engineering in college, and I enjoy being out in the hangar every day for 2 hours, an hour and a half, I guess, 2 periods, with a bunch of people that I've become friends with that I didn't think I would be before this class, and it's just a lot of fun.
Hi, I'm Shaya. I decided to take this class because I've always been really interested in engineering and aviation, and I love doing hands-on stuff. I love hands-on learning, and it seemed like a really good decision.
And you're a sophomore.
Yes.
So there are 2 teachers in the class, Bo and myself. We have Dr. Robinson has been instrumental in organizing us, and also Christian McDonald, our ELO coordinator, has done a lot to work with our mentors. Bo, do you want to talk about the mentors?
Sure.
Or, yeah.
So we have about 40 community members who come in, about 4 every day, and they help work with the students. It's normally around 4 students per mentor. Some of these people are currently building the same plane we are. Some of them have never touched an airplane before. It's sort of, some of them are engineers who used to work at Boeing. There's a lot of experience, but more than that, a lot of enthusiasm on the part of those mentors to help these kids, and they love it, and they talk to anyone they know about it. One of our mentors is a traveling nurse, and she talks to anyone she can find on the airplane about it, and we get significant amounts of airplane swag in response from all the flight attendants who love this story. So yeah, we love having them, and they're a great asset to the program.
Every day, about 4 to 5 mentors who have some sort of background in the field come in, and the students break off into groups of about 4 and work with an adult who has a great background knowledge on how to essentially assemble the airplane, and they all work together on the project. It's really a wonderful experience.
Okay, so the program is a combination of several organizations. Aviation Museum of New Hampshire, that's where we sort of heard, where they put out a bid for proposals. They already had a plane build at Manchester, and they wanted to expand the program, and we applied. We were one of several that they were looking at, and we were selected. They do most of the fundraising. The curriculum and the entire plan for this comes from Tango Flight out of Texas. One guy, Dan Wyant, decided he wanted his high school students to learn how to build an airplane, and now he's in 13 states and 40 high schools with this program. Obviously, our superintendent, Amy Allen, knew about this from Manchester and was instrumental in bringing this to our district as well.
So the course is pretty simple for the students. Sophomores, juniors, and seniors take it. It's usually two years long, and we do it from periods 3 to 4. So we have a long time to work on the plane, and we aren't rushed. It's all year, and we also get credits for this, not just airplane credit. We get math, we get science and engineering to go towards our colleges and towards classes in the future. which is great. And obviously, the mentors do most of the teaching, but Mr. Moore obviously helps us a lot with teaching us about the Tango Flight curriculum through his own way of hands-on learning, through airplane models and his own experience with the yeah, we build it in what we call a hangar, but realistically it's just a garage.
So yeah, I could tell you a little bit about the hangar. It was a 3-bay garage that the maintenance department was using. Over the summer, the maintenance was kind enough to clean it out and give it a paint job and a little bit of a makeover. Tyler from the IT department did a wonderful job of, bringing internet out to the hangar and giving us a really nice display to go over plans, and we also have a nice printer that prints us out the large blueprints that we need. And then my woodworking class made these large benches that went in the shop that are adjustable, and we can move them around, and they're really, great asset. Anything? Sorry, I kind of did that one for you, but yeah, okay.
All right, so a typical day at the hangar, when we first come in, we get like a 5-minute lecture on mathematics or flight physics from Mr. Moore or Mr. Harwood, whoever's there that day. And then we go straight into sort of loose, predetermined groups. Every group is working on a different part of the plane, and we use those blueprints that you can see up there. It's like a really complicated Lego set. All the parts are pre-built, and we're just looking at the directions to try and figure it out with the mentors and our peers. There's a lot of teamwork, a lot of like figuring stuff out, problem solving. Yeah, that's it.
Great job.
So every day when we go out to the hangar, we do what Mr. Moore calls quick 5-second lectures. They're more like 5 minutes. I don't know if he knows how to tell time very well. But these 5-second lectures consist of him telling us about the physics of aviation and how planes fly. He very often says, I don't really know if this is right, so if any mentors have anything to add, please jump in. Which I really appreciate. They do, yes. I really appreciate that he's willing to admit that he doesn't always know exactly what he's talking about, but also that he takes the time to try and learn it before he teaches it to us. Additionally, we also have done a few field trips, notably to the Lebanon airport, where we talked to various people, the tower control people, some people out in their hangars who work on maintenance for their planes, and we just learned so much from them about how the aviation business really runs on all these different people.
All right, so we face a lot of surprises and a lot of challenges while we work. For example, there's a lot more to building a plane than you might think. When we first jumped into this, it was very simple. Pick up the rivet gun, put 2 pieces of metal together. But moving forward, we really get into some nitty-gritty, hard tasks like brake lines and making brakes work, and making wheels and making everything perfect. That's one of the challenges is patience, because everything needs to be done right because our lives are literally at stake. So we got to do it right.
I think I just would like to add, it is really neat to see the project-based learning, in action. And, you guys can see how complicated those plans are, and the students need to get through that, and go over every intricate little detail. And sometimes things, don't go perfectly well, but the amount of critical thinking that I've seen and the amount of problem solving that happens when we have to fix something is better than anything I've seen in a typical classroom. It is just really high-level learning, and it's very impressive. If you ever get a chance to pop out and visit us at the hangar, we'd love to have you and have you see what's going on out there, because it is really high-level learning. It's neat.
I talked about this a little already. The founder of Tango Flight, Dan Wyatt, he visited last year after we learned we got the program, and he's going to return in March to see how far we've come. We're the 38th country in the 38th school in the country to do this, and this is 50,000 pieces, which we had to get off a truck, which was interesting in and of itself, and not to mention having to put it together. We are about 50% done right now. And then I think we'll talk about this a little bit later. Dan also came up to run a workshop for all the mentors, because even if they're into engineering or they know fiberglass or know how to run brake lines, they may not know how to build this particular plane. So we had a mentor workshop in late August to get them all up to speed.
So as the resident student pilot here, I'll talk about the plane. The plane is obviously a big Lego set. It's a kit-based one, and these are perfect planes. They're two-seaters. A lot of people learn to fly on these planes. My flight instructor actually learned how to fly on an RV-12 IS, which is pretty interesting. And these are really light planes. They're great for students, great for everyone. And after we build it, there'll be a public event about testing and the taxiing at the Lebanon airport, which the students will get to go up and fly beside in, and maybe there'll be a lot of like people come and watch it. So be there.
Okay, so the Aviation Museum, we're within reach of that $310,000 that they're raising for us right now. Amy and Christian and I met with them today, and it looks like everything is in place. When the plane is completed, we will sell it, and that will be and use the proceeds for the next plane, for the next group of students. So it will be self-sustaining moving forward, other than regular maintenance things. And every now and then, we need to reorder a part because somebody moves too fast or we didn't read the blueprint correctly. And the Aviation Museum will continue to fund us for those needs each year. And as we've said, we have the volunteer hours are just invaluable. And I also just want to point out that the volunteers and mentors are not doing the work. They are really there to bounce ideas off of and help them to understand, but it's the kids who are building the plane. None of these photos are staged, just going to say. Okay, sorry. So this was, as of August 1st, it was at $243,000. You know, we've had great support from the Upper Valley. You see the various groups up there that are recognizable. We presented to the Lebanon Rotary Club last spring, and they came forward. We are on the verge of getting a really nice donation from Timken, the Byrne Foundation, Cape Air, some individuals. It's really been remarkable. The community support. It really feels like this is a community project.
So there are several benefits and goals that this class has for us. It is a very inspiring class. Through this class, I think a lot of students have been inspired to go into a career in aviation or engineering, and to really take on these tough projects that they'll face in their lifetime doing that. We also get a chance to work alongside several mentors, which we've mentioned, but they all have different careers in aviation, engineering, nursing, as we've mentioned, and it's really just, it's great to hear their stories and to hear them talk about their careers and what they do, and to get their wisdom and hear from them in that way. And it's just an amazingly supportive group of students, of mentors, of teachers, and I don't think without all of us working together, I would be enjoying it as much as I was. I think we've done this very well, and I'm really learning to love engineering even more than I did when I started this program.
So earlier this year, we went to a gala hosted by the Aviation Museum. which was a fantastic opportunity. There were previous groups that built the same plane. There's a future group that's going to build the same plane. It was a fantastic opportunity to meet other students who are interested in the same things as us. We met a lot of people who are important in the aviation community, which is fantastic. We could learn about like different careers you could go into, what you could do with this knowledge we have from building the plane. We also got inducted into the Yellowbird Society, which is an organization for students in aviation, which is further opening up a community for us to be in now that we're part of this.
Yeah. All right. So in the hangar, every group usually has a mentor or two with them, and they are obviously guiding us through our process. One of them, Andy Gelston, for example, he registers airplanes, and he knows what he's talking about, so we can always trust him. One of them, Dave Robinson, who I think she wants me to talk about. Great guy. Oh, the veteran. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a third one too, who is at the gala, who is a war veteran. What was his name again?
World War II. It was Berlin Airlift.
Oh yeah, a Berlin Airlift veteran who was really kind soul. He set us up with a lot of connections to the Aviation Museum at the gala, and obviously he inducted us into the Yellowbird Society, which is a great way for students like us to connect with other students in aviation and talk about our pasts and such. But overall, in the hangar, come help me with the hangar stuff. So, yeah.
Out in the hangar, we have to utilize and practice a lot of different skills that we maybe didn't have going into the program. So this is a great program for building those skills. One of them being our critical thinking skills and just reading the instructions, figuring out what they're saying and telling us to do, and then figuring out how to do that. Because a lot of the time it'll say, flare the tubing, and I'll read it and I say, what does flaring mean? So it's a lot of just working between the students and the mentors and thinking about how that's going to go down, and then thinking critically about how to solve problems that we will come across, which we do a lot. So.
Technical difficulties. You know what? Working in the hangar is honestly, personally, a lot different than I expected. There's so much more problem solving than I thought there would be. Like, when the instructions say something, you'd expect to read it, and then you figure out how to do it, and you do it. But the figuring out part is so much more difficult than it sounds, because sometimes the tool doesn't fit where it's supposed to go, or the image is wrong, or nobody knows what that is. So there's a lot of problem solving, a lot of teamwork. We built a really close community through this problem solving because everybody's confused. But we're making a plane, so we're getting somewhere.
I'll put this back in there. Okay, that's really sketchy. Okay.
So as Bo mentioned earlier, we had Dan Wyatt from Take Flight come up from Texas. Tango Flight, sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant. Tango Flight come up from Texas, and he trained all the mentors who were working on the plane. And during that 2-day training, we built this vertical stabilizer that you can see here. It was really cool. It's not the one that's going to go on our plane because our students are building our plane. So they built a replica of this. And this one we get to hang up in the shop. So we had the opportunity, we had a guest come in and wrap it up. And they put this vinyl wrapping on it so that we can kind of take it around and show it off a little bit. And it hangs up in our hangar in the middle of everything. And it was a great opportunity just to, educate all of the mentors of how to work with the students, how that they're not the ones building the planes, the students are building the planes, and that, just get everyone on the same page of how we're going to kind of attack this process. Anything else to add to that, Bo? Yeah, all right.
So back to PBL, it's more than a dessert. I think oftentimes in education, you learn about a topic of some sort, and at the end of learning about it, then you do a project. In project-based learning, the project is the learning. So it's not a dessert, it's the meal. So that is just kind of an analogy to understand. And you can hear from our students that every day is a new challenge. And watching them in their flexible groups, they seem to change daily as they're working on different parts. And I think we have a photo coming up pretty soon of how some of their sub-assemblies are beginning to come together. So we'll take a look at that next one. Oh, not here. We try very hard to make it a public experience. We have various presentations. We are coming up with a presentation to the New Hampshire School Board soon, where we can talk to them about the importance of public education and what's possible when you have determination and community support. We were on WCAX recently. I hope you all see the Take Flight newsletter. If not, let me know and I'll make sure you receive it. So this, I'll let the kids tell you about it, but this is a, yeah, go ahead.
All right, so our final thoughts are this experience isn't like any class. It's like it's an experience. Waking up and being excited to go to school, kind of a surprise, but this is genuinely that, and every student can get on board with that. I mean, all forms of like this project-based learning, it just makes it easier to understand, more engaging to students, and it really goes a long way, especially towards real-world application and students being prepared for what they want to do in the future.
For me, my day is packed full of really incredibly rigorous and academic classes. And while Take Flight is both rigorous and academic, it's also really fun because it's hands-on and I'm with people that I enjoy being with, and I get to have fun conversations with them while we're building a plane. So it's an amazing experience. It's one that most people don't get to have, and it's one that I will always love to have with me and go around telling people, hey, you know what I did in high school? I built a plane. I'm just so cool. So that's my thoughts.
For me, Take Flight has been so much of an experience. I've grown so much personally, I think. Socially, I've learned so much about the world of engineering and aviation, and I'm now in a community that I love being in, with people I enjoy working with, and a project I love doing.
So what that picture actually is, that is the tail cone that is behind where the seats will be. No one's actually going to ever be in there. That's just what connects the rudder and all the control surfaces to the cockpit.
I think it can kind of give you a general idea. You can see how all these little tiny pieces start to form together to make this gigantic airplane. And it is intricate. All these 50,000 little pieces start to come together. And it is a really neat thing to see. I think it's amazing, you know, even if the students don't go into a field of aviation or something along those lines, the amount of problem solving and critical thinking that they're learning is applicable to all these different aspects of their life. And I think they're really enjoying the process and learning a lot of life skills from the class.
I think we have one more slide. Yes, sky's the limit, that's us. As you can see, we have no shortage of personality here. So if you have any questions, I'm sure they're ready to answer them.
Anyone want to ask any questions?
I have questions.
Go ahead.
So when you're choosing the group of students, how do you determine who, like, I'm sure you are getting more applications than there are spots. So how do you decide what students will be successful in Take Flight? Is it accessible to any student?
It's absolutely accessible to any student. Part of the application process is, do you actually show the effort to do the application process. It's not really, are you an AP calculus right now, or if you're good at any particular thing, it's do you have the effort to put it in every day? Because there's no tests to take, there's no homework to do. The work is the class, and if you're willing to put the work in every day, you will be successful in this class.
So one follow-up. So obviously you had a group of students that started this year. It sounds like not all of them were seniors. So sort of what does the program look like in the next few years? Do students stay with it?
The Tango Flight people are very surprised. When they originally put this process together, they thought it would be 2 years to build a plane, and has already been said we're about 50% done right now. And when we get down to the 80 to 85% done, which we anticipate we'll be by the end of this year, the amount of working space is much smaller, and also the errors could be catastrophic. So bringing in a whole new class next year, we decided wasn't the best idea. So we invited our sophomores and juniors to return to finish this plane, and we have a new class that will start with a brand new plane. So they'll learn how to rivet. Just these guys never knew how to rivet either, but now they'll start from scratch and see how it all comes together.
So the idea is potentially, unless you're graduating, to be able to follow the build through?
Yes.
So
and
you're
we'll
making a commitment to potentially more than just a year?
Potentially. It was all of their choices to return, and we will be inviting our seniors back. I think Kyle wants to fly it.
So,
Go ahead.
So it was planned for 2 years. It's going to go like a year and a half.
Not even probably.
So then what will the students do when they finish the plane? I mean,
So
is there a half year
the
that's-
Take Flight 2, where the students are returning, is actually going to be a shortened class. It's not going to be as long as the original, and it's going to have less students. So I think what that's going to do is kind of prolong the process. And so it won't quite be done in that half a year, but we are out developing a lot of different ideas in terms of, how to pad the curriculum and what we're going to be doing with them. But our hope is that by shortening the class and having less students do more intricate work, and then also we were thinking about having them mentor the new students as well, and kind of showing them the ropes and teaching them what to do. So with doing all of those things, we imagine that the next year, finishing this plane will take the entire year.
So I'm curious, if there's no tests in the class, what is the grading that you do in the class, and what are they measured on? Are they measured on effort or something else?
We decided to make this a pass-fail situation, so we didn't need to worry about honors and weighted grades, and that can negatively affect a student since we have so many weighted classes. If you take one that isn't, it can lower your GPA, and we wanted to avoid all of that. It's really kind of like a family, maybe a little dysfunctional family, but a family out there, and quantifying it, there wasn't an easy way to do it. Sure, we could have done tests, we could have done quizzes, and there are occasional checks for understanding, but having it be pass-fail takes a lot of the anguish out of it and makes it much simpler to just be involved in the process.
So along the way, is the plane looked at for errors, or who comes in and judges whether the plane is safe to take off?
So part of the errors you will eventually come across just in the course of doing more of the plane. You'll realize, oh, this no longer fits. Why? And you go back and you realize what happened. There are scheduled points in the plane build where Tango Flight employs an inspector to come out and make sure, yes, this was done right. Yes, this is the way it was supposed to go. Because I don't think we actually mentioned that they still technically own the plane for insurance reasons and liability. They own the plane. They're having us build it, or having the students build it. So it's their responsibility. They come out, they inspect it, and they make sure that everything's been done correctly.
Thank you.
I think to add to that, we have the person who does all of the inspections in the state in New Hampshire is one of our lead mentors, and he's in the shop 3 days a week. So he's really meticulously looking, and we're very privileged to have him, be part of our team. But we do have people who have built the plane before, and everyone's kind of constantly checking up on it.
I was going to ask a quick question. Do you teach presentation skills in this class as well, or are these students naturally this confident and articulate?
We've been doing a lot of this lately.
Amazing. It's good. Brilliant. I'm bowled over.
I will also point out that you saw Tom pick that up pretty easily with one hand. He's not a bodybuilder.
It's very light, yeah. It's extremely, there's not much to it, In order to get airborne, there can't be a lot of weight. So it's really wild how light some of these pieces are.
Anybody else? Oops. Well, thank you all so much for coming. We appreciate your clarity. We appreciate you presenting what you've done. We appreciate the work the students have done, and we congratulate you for the progress you've made. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we want to thank you guys for your support in this project. It's hard for you guys to trust us, but thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, really, thank you so much. We really appreciate it, and we love this class so much. It's really worth it.
We really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you again.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to our superintendent's update.
No. Not at all. Good evening. Tonight I'm pleased to provide an update on the Lebanon School District's recent activities and achievements. Students and staff had a smooth transition back from vacation, and we are excited to continue the work. Again, I'd like to thank our Take Flight team who came to this presentation and for continuing to speak out in the community for project-based learning and supporting public education. Before the break, a group of students from Fajardo Academy in Puerto Rico visited Lebanon High School as part of the exchange program. We heard from that teacher asking to go next year. Then over the break, Lebanon High School teacher Megan Wilson and her Spanish class alongside students of Fajardo Academy visited the Hubbard Brook Experimental Forest in the White Mountains, learn about snow and climate change. There is a really nice article in NPR during that, so I can share that along with you. I know Wendy had talked about Annie Hanna, but I wanted to give her a big shout out for her representing the USA and under 18 Alpine team in Norway. I heard she did well. Nordic. I heard she did really well. So congratulations to her. I wanted to congratulate all of our winter athletes. Wendy had said those are advancing to the playoffs, and for all of our winter athletes who participated this season. On Monday this week, Lebanon High School hosted a team from the New Hampshire Eddies Committee that is for the New Hampshire school year. So they visited the entire day. They saw classrooms, they saw student presentations, they spoke with students and faculty, and even got to eat lunch with our students. So I'd like to thank everyone who was involved in that event, and I want to wish the Lebanon High School the best of luck as they're being considered for New Hampshire school year. I anticipate we are considered a finalist by early April. Looking ahead, next week we have a strategic planning meeting on Tuesday. We have decided to move that meeting in person, virtual. I think that would be a great opportunity for us to dig deeper into the work. We do have a meeting on March 5th. I will provide an update from that strategic at that meeting. Finally, to note, March 10th is a professional learning day for the district. Our district professional learning committee has been planning engaging opportunities for our teachers. And then on that day, I have been invited to co-present with Super Eval at the Administration's Conference on Personal. So, thank you, and that concludes my update for this evening.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Amy? Okay, moving on to Tim.
He will definitely be more exciting, right?
No. I just had a quick budget update. This is through January. As I mentioned in the sort of the notes to go with it, it's really no surprises that I'm seeing. We're about 0.25% more expended this year than we were last year. if we didn't have, we're going to have a public hearing to take money from the Special Education Expendable Trust Fund, probably in April is probably we're going to request it. Without that, I'd be concerned, but the expenses we're looking at are about $190,000. So that's really the only thing on my radar as far as unknown expenses. We're hoping that we'll see some, again, everything here includes, for snow plowing, for example, everything's encumbered. And we're hopefully more than halfway through the winter, and so hopefully we'll see this number grow up as we reduce things like the, snow plowing, maybe electricity. So I think we're in pretty good shape based on that. If we get 1 billion storms between now and the end of March, that'd be a different issue. But I think we have about half our snow plowing budget over. So hopefully we only have 1 more month. So anyway, any questions?
Don't make predictions like that. Then we'll have a longer
hope
snow.
not.
You're like the groundhog. Don't do that.
Every time I think winter's over, Dana always said there's 20 snow events or 20 precipitation events in March. You know that, right? I'm like, Dana, shut up.
They tend to be on a Thursday, if you haven't noticed.
I have noticed. I've been trying to schedule things on Thursday in Vermont, and I just can't.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tim. All right. We are going to move on to unfinished business. 10A, we're going to table that for now. That's
Need a motion. Yeah.
sorry.
I just want to make a formal
Yeah.
motion.
Going to make a motion to table. Go ahead.
So I'll make a motion to table policy ACAC. We are still waiting for legal to provide us a draft of that policy. So as soon as we have that, we will, or you will, move forward with that.
Yes.
Motion by Wendy. Can I get a second? Second by Richard, sorry.
Call me whatever. At this point, I don't mind.
No. All right. All those in favor? Okay, great. Okay, leads us to policies.
So I'd like to make a motion to move policy BEDDA to a second reading.
And oh, sorry. I'll second that, but then additions need.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion for policy BEDDA by Wendy, second by Richard. Are there any comments? Yes, Richard.
Yeah, so I apologize for this, getting to this point in the process about me noticing it, but it occurred to me when I was looking at majority, the votes required for things to pass, we actually hadn't defined majority in relation to abstentions. So it says abstentions, under 14, it says abstentions are noted and counted, do not affect the outcome of the vote, and this does not, to me, appropriately clarify what happens in the case of an abstention to what counts as a. So in the event of 2 abstentions, does a 4-3 vote pass?
Yeah. I mean, I think that.
So then
a simple majority then of the number of
voting members.
Party members. Okay. So you want to add that too?
I'm going to suggest that we add to 14 after the text that's already there. For the purposes of this policy, majority shall mean more than half of the voting non-abstaining members.
Okay, just email that to Amy and what
I'll email that to you.
Yes. I can't write that down. Okay, great. Good catch, though. Any other comments on this one? No? Okay.
As long as everyone's okay with the table as it's presented now.
Oh, yes, I am.
Yes, I think it looks much.
I think it's clear.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, all those in favor? Great, thank you. All right.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the policies listed under 10C through U.
All right, can I get a second? Second by Richard. Any additional information needs from those? All right, all those in favor? Great.
I'd like to make a motion to withdraw the policies listed under 10V through Y.
Okay. Motion, a second by Richard. Any additional information? All those in favor? Great. Okay. All right. Thank you. Again, thank you, policy, as always. All right. We've already done our new business. We're back to public comment. Is there any public comment in the room? No. Is there any public comment online?
There is no public comment online.
Okay, great. Close public comment. Committee updates. Finance and Facilities met on February 10th. We've already talked about that. The next meeting is to be determined. Policy Committee met on February 3rd. We've already talked about that. Next meeting is to be determined. EC, Education Committee, met on January 13th. Our next meeting is, I think now, March 10th, not 3rd. Yeah, March 10th.
You have a quorum for that?
I'm on the 10th? Yes, then we do. Okay, yeah, I
Thank
didn't
you.
see it yet. Thank you. PNN will meet again in the fall, I'm assuming. Student Wellness Advisory Committee met in January. Their next meeting is May 7th at the SAU office. HACTC met in December. Their next meeting is March 12th at HACTC. Area Committee will meet tomorrow night here. The School District City Task Force met in January, and the next meeting is to be determined. And the Housing Task Force met on January 27th. The next meeting is tomorrow as well. No? Okay. When is the next meeting for that one?
Meeting, I think, is March 17th.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And we can up
Yes,
happened.
I would.
So there was an update from Resilience Planning and Design, which is the company that the city has contracted through the grant to work on the master chapter housing. They've been touring Lebanon, and they met Amy and a variety of other groups, and still meeting people around town. They're also, or we are working on kind of the marketing of the Housing Task Force. Living in Lebanon seems to be the logo that will be forward. And there's some work around minimum housing standards enforcement. Right now, we don't have any, and things get deferred to the state. So some of the staff are going to be presenting to the city council soon on that. Got it?
Thank you. Go ahead.
Did you ask John if there was when you and I were having the conversation about the development that's happening up by Sachem, and it wasn't on our radar at all?
Oh,
And so I think you had asked or wondered if there was a planning board member or so, like, so there's a development that's going to be of family housing for Dartmouth College.
Up near Sachem Village, yes.
So that somehow got completely missed?
It's been in the works for a long time,
Okay.
since before. Their planning permission went through in 2020, I believe.
That's why.
That's why it would surprise me too, because it predates my time on the planning board, and I was like, I don't remember seeing this, let alone okaying it, but no, it's.
So I think Lil's question was only, with things like that sort of fall off our radar, is there somebody that we can have either through the city school board task force or a housing thing where there's some kind of update to help get that back?
We were thinking when we were talking at the last city task force meeting, it seems like in a lot of ways the planning board is sort of operating, doing their own thing, and they're letting city council know what's happening, but sometimes city council doesn't have any idea. And so for us to meet with city council is helpful, but if we had a representative perhaps from planning board come to those meetings as a member of that task force, that might be something that we could think about. But we would need to talk to the city and talk to planning board about that, but that was.
Or if that person is
On the housing task force.
on the
that would also
housing
work.
task force.
So Andrew is on the planning board, obviously, our meeting, but I'm not sure our meeting
Right. Yeah, so I
has
think,
been approved.
I think when our plan in the spring is to meet all of us with all the new city council, and then talk about, and the city manager, and talk about what's happening. And so I think that's one of the things that we'll bring up.
Informally, in the meantime, if you have questions, I'm
Right.
happy to find the right
It's
person to
helpful
ask.
to have you, but I think it'd be good to formalize that,
Yes,
because I think it'd
absolutely.
helpfully. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, let's see. Future agenda items, board member recommendations or questions?
I wanted to let everyone know our enrollment study is back. And invited Cropper, who did the enrollment study, to our next meeting. He will join virtually at 6:05. So I will get you that enrollment study this week. By Thursday, we'll have the agenda. I'm waiting on that policy and hope that we can get it in. If not, you'll get the agenda packet with that. And then I think it's a pretty elaborate report, so I think it's important that you guys be able to ask them questions.
Any surprises?
There's a little surprises, but not significant surprises.
Great.
But
Thank you.
I'll send that along for, really interested. So I was excited it came back, and there's tons of, some of the projections that we've done ourselves were accurate. You'll have some good information.
That's great. That's another thing we can talk about at the council and us.
Absolutely.
Their study and our study and how they align.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions or announcements? Yes.
I just wanted to personally thank the 3 board members that are getting off the board, because I'm not going to be here.
Oh, you're right. That's right.
On our next meeting physically, and I'm going to try to join virtually, but I won't be here, so I just wanted to say thank you for your service.
Thank you. We're going to clap. We'll clap now, and we'll clap next week. We'll clap twice.
Plenty of applause to go around.
Lots of applause. All right. Our next school board meeting is March 5th at 6:30 p.m. here at the cafeteria. And remind everyone about citywide voting. We had the Meet the Candidates night last night, which is great. It was pretty well attended, actually, online and in person, which was great. And
The video is on our Facebook page.
Oh, great. And the video is on our Facebook page. Hooray. That's my next question. So the voting is on March 11th. We are not going to adjourn because we have to have a non-public. And so I need to have a motion to go into non-public.
Make a motion to enter non-public under NHRSA 91A32C.
Second that.
Motion by MJ, second by Richard. Kevin? Richard?
Yes.
Mary? Jay?
Yes.
I'm a yes. John?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
Tia?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.